Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Practo English. I hope you're all doing well and ready to learn something new today. If you want to speak English fluently, confidently, and naturally, this lesson is for you. Today, I'm going to teach you how to think in English. Before we start the video, I want to let you know that I won't waste your time with unnecessary points. I'll go straight to the main points you need to focus on. Okay, let's get started. A key step to becoming a fluent speaker. We all know how frustrating it can be when we need to stop and translate sentences from our native language into English before speaking. It slows us down, affects our confidence, and often leads to mistakes. Wouldn't it be great if you could skip the translation and just think in English? Well, it's possible. By following 4 simple steps, you can train your brain to think directly in English, making speaking smoother and more natural. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to Simple Spoken English if you haven't already. This way, you won't miss any new lessons to help you on your journey to English fluency. The first step to thinking in English is to focus on verbs action words in a sentence. Why verbs? Because actions are all around us, and thinking about them in English helps us form sentences faster. Imagine you're walking in Central Park, New York. You see people all around, doing different things. Some are running, others are talking. A dog is chasing a ball. Someone is feeding birds. These actions can be described with verbs: run, talk, chase, feed. You can do this exercise anywhere. For example, if you're at a bus stop in London, think about the actions around you. People might be walking, someone might be riding a bike, and friends might be laughing. Even at home, you can imagine scenarios or use pictures. Look at a family picnic photo. People are eating, playing, relaxing. Try practicing thinking in verbs for 5 hours, 10 minutes daily. Choose different places to observe actions and describe them in English. Over time, this will help your brain think about actions in English, making it easier to speak. Once you're comfortable with verbs, move on to nouns. Nouns are names for people, places, things, or ideas. They're everywhere, and if you can name these in English, you'll be one step closer to thinking in English fluently. Imagine you're in Sydney, Australia, by the Sydney Opera House. You might see the building, the harbour, tourists, a boat, and seagulls. These are all nouns. If you're in a market in Delhi, you might see fruits, vegetables, vendors. Even at home, look around and think about nouns: table, chair, book, laptop. Spend a few minutes each day naming objects around you in English. For example, if you're in a cafe in Paris, look around and name things like tables, coffee cups, waiters, and books. This practice will help you think faster and more clearly in English. Now that you're familiar with verbs and nouns, start thinking in sentences. Combine verbs and nouns to describe what's happening around you in simple, clear sentences. For example, if you're at Table Mountain in Cape Town, you might think, the tourists are climbing the mountain. The sun is shining. The wind is blowing. Or, if you're in a Toronto park, you might say, a family is having a picnic. Children are playing. Birds are flying. As you get comfortable, try to make your sentences a bit longer. For example, if you're in Berlin by the Brandenburg Gate, you could say, a group of tourists is taking pictures of the monument. Some are listening to their guide, while others are checking maps. Practice describing your surroundings in sentences for 10 sets, 15 minutes daily. Whether at home, in the office, or in a new place, think in complete sentences to describe what's happening. The final step is to move from sentences to paragraphs. Describe everything around you in more detail, as if you're telling a story. Imagine you're on the Great Wall of China. You might describe it like this: I'm standing on the Great Wall, and the view is incredible. The mountains stretch out far, and the wall winds across the landscape. Tourists are taking pictures, and I hear people speaking different languages. A cool breeze is blowing, and the stone steps feel worn from centuries of use. Here, you've combined verbs, nouns, and sentences to paint a full picture. Practicing this will help you think in English naturally and describe things in detail, just as you would in your native language. To summarize, here are the 4 steps to thinking in English. Think in verbs to describe actions around you. Think in nouns to name the people, places, and things you see. Think in sentences to form simple sentences, and think in paragraphs to describe full scenes in detail. Practicing these steps regularly will train your brain to process information in English more naturally. As you practice, you'll find it easier to have conversations, respond quickly, and express ideas without pausing to translate. To make it easier to learn, try some practical exercises like daily observations, where you describe what you see around you. Picture descriptions where you describe photos in English. Journal writing to write a short entry each day. And talking to yourself to practice speaking on different topics. Another challenge is to try thinking only in English for 5 minutes, then gradually increase the time. Learning to think in English is a journey that takes practice and patience. Every day, even a few minutes of practice helps. It's normal to make mistakes. Each mistake is a chance to improve. So, are you ready to take this step? Start today, and soon you'll be thinking and speaking in English like a native. Thank you for joining today's lesson on Simple Spoken English. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next lesson.